first thing you need to do is measure up from the bottom of the paper 1 inch. And you put a dot on toward the ends of both sides. And then you lightly draw a line, connect those 2 dots together, and lightly draw a line all the way across. So it kind of looks like this. You can barely see it, but you get that line 1 inch up from the bottom of the paper. From over here to here, 4.5 inches. And then on the other side, we measure 4.5 inches also. So it's going to be like this. You put these dots here. Then, if you set your compass up, take your compass, put the pencil in there, and you set the compass for 1 inch. So from the compass point to the pencil point is going to be 1 inch. And by the way, that should line up with the paper. If I put the compass right in the middle there, see how it's so close to that? So you could even use your paper and put your compass point in here and put your pencil on the outside to get these measurements. Then what I do is I take this compass, set the pencil point right on the line like this. I'm going to trace that around so that I get this circle. Then I move to the other side and do the same thing so it goes like this. Just follow it around so you've got the circle. Now, the next circle in, this is the rubber tire that we're drawing here, and what we're going to do next is the center rim. So I'm going to measure from here to here on the compass, just so that I've got my compass point in the middle, and I find that dot that I started, and I go like this to make another circle. The next circle in is going to be even another part of the rim coming in. This is the inner side of the rim. I take the compass and I move my pencil into here, and I put that on there. So it's like this. Now what I did is I came back and I darkened everything in. This is the back wheel or the front wheel, whichever. But now we need to start coloring this. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put some highlights. You figure out whether the highlights are going to be on this side or this side. Let's start out here. Then I'm going to do the stretched out oval on the top, like this. I'm going to do the stretched out oval on top too. By the way, it goes on the top up here. When you get down to the circle, it goes on the top inside. So it's going to be like this. So does that make sense? You've got the light coming off here, and the light reflects off the top on this side too. And the way you start coloring that is you take your black and lightly blend around the edge of that oval like this. And then around the outside, start coloring darker. And by the way, try to work around the circle. Try not to go outside it, because you're going to need that really round to make this look like a tire. It starts to come onto the inside like this. You can see how this is starting to blend. Well, actually look kind of like a highlight. Let's go to the inside and just color a little bit and work your way to the edge. If you keep your black colored pencil, or any colored pencil, sharp, you can usually get a whole lot better line than if it gets too flat. Color it in so there's no white specks in that black. Do the same thing around the bottom. Kind of put it lighter on the edges. And let's color it in solid. Again, your hand has a natural compass, so if you color it like this, a lot of times you're going to find it's easier to color than if I try to color like that. It's real important. I use this designing a car paper that helps me to use it like as a smudge sheet so it doesn't mess up or smudge any of this design. So let's get this up to here. And then we're going to color in right to the edge. There. And it's colored in. The next part of working on this wheel is to take your white color pencil right around the edge and start blending it so it looks kind of like it's just fading into that black. It kind of gives you the effect of the highlight on the rubber wheel or the rubber tire. And then you do the same thing on the bottom, like this. Hopefully this gives you a little better view of what's going on here. You can kind of see how it blends. Now the next part that I'm going to be working on is this reflection. That we're going to need a reflection kind of coming across the center. First I'm going to put the axle in there. This is just a chrome hub that would be in a wheel. I start out with my circle in the middle. It's a very simple hub that's going to be coming around. What I do is I start out like this, kind of draw a circle around where the compass point is, and the next thing I'm going to do is to make, if you look at a line that we're straight across here, if you look at a chrome or a very shiny surface, you see the reflection of the horizon in it. So the way that I do that is I start out with an upside down U, is what I call it, kind of coming across here like this, and bending down like this. And this upside down U on this side coming across like this and bending down. And then the little one in here where the rim is on the outside, little one right here. And then you get it really black on the top. And just fade down just a little bit like this. And then underneath this U here, upside down U, fade down just a little bit. And blend it like that. Even in here, you're going to have a small one. Almost looks like a staple. And then you put a little bit of black underneath there. And this is where your white's going to come in. Very important. Because right now it looks really rough. But if you take your white and you draw in a circular motion, because it's a wax pencil, it's going to start pulling that down and making it blend. Let's do it on this side too. See how that kind of pulls it down, and it kind of gives us a nice effect of a reflection here. And then what you can do is, if you wanted to, there's going to be some bolts or lug nuts that hold on the wheel. If you put a C and aim them all the same direction like this, let's do 5 of them. It kind of makes it look like 5 lug nuts on this wheel. Then you just take your pencil here, you can kind of go around them. And this is where the shadow would be, is on this side back here. And that's why I put that kind of like a C facing up. So it looks like the reflection or the highlights on the top. And then you can take, this is where your light, well, this is where the shadow is going to be on the rim right here. So you take this and you kind of go on the top part like this, just so it looks like a little bit of a rim, and you can take your white just to make it look like it's a little bit more of a shadow on the top part of the rim. And then you've got your wheel done. Let me see if I can tip the camera straight on it so you can see how this is with it round. Okay, so this is kind of looking down more on it. This is what your wheel's going to look like with the shading you've got around the top here. You've got that shadow, and you've got the lug nuts in here, and just kind of puts that all together so you can see what's happening. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other wheel and show you what's going on with that. So then you're going to repeat this process on the other wheel too. So now I'm working on the front wheel, same process that you saw me doing on the back wheel, just finishing this up rather quickly so I can show you what they both look like. Working on the tire part, trying to get that solid black, blending the white on the edges, and then the upside down U's. Then the blending with the white. Then, let me just also show you this. If you lose your black edge on the top, if you take your black at the end of shading with that white and come along the top, it kind of sharpens that up and just gives you a nice edge right along the top. Same thing here. Then the bolts or the C's. Then use your white and kind of carry out those shadows a little bit farther. There. And then you've got the other wheel done. Now let me show you what both the wheels look like so you can kind of see where we're at this point. We've got both wheels done, and you can see the highlight goes from top, outside, bottom, inside, top, outside, bottom, inside. Again, if you do your highlight on this side, keep it the same on this side over here. You can see the reflections in there, and this is, I want to see if you can get to this point on the project, and then we'll go on from here. Now we're ready to start designing the car. You have to figure out if your car is going to go for speed or if it's going to go for clearance so that you can get through some rough spots. If your car is going to go for speed, you want to keep it about a ½ inch or even a little bit closer to the ground. But if it's going to go, if you need clearance to get through some rough spots, you probably come up even higher than that, 1 inch or higher depending on what kind of off-road vehicle you're making. But I'm going to go for speed. So what I'm going to do is measure up a ½ inch. And I'm going to lightly draw a line across here. Wheel wells. Wheel wells I would keep pretty close to the car unless they're going to be squared off or whatever. But if I take my compass and I line back up with the dot that I used at the beginning, I can take this compass and draw a circle around the outside of the wheel. It's going to come down around there, over to here. Okay, let me show you on this back wheel well what I'm going to do. Line my compass up, just draw a circle around here, around the outside until it touches the bottom of the car. Now, this you shouldn't tuck back in like this. What really should happen is you've got to figure out an angle that you can maybe bring out like this and like this on the car. Then you can erase that. Now that I have both wheel wells done, what I can do is I can take the ruler and I'm going to tip the front of the car up just a little bit so it's not so flat against the ground. I'm also going to tip the back up just a touch. Like this. And then I can get rid of this line here, but you can kind of see how I've got it tipped up. When you're designing your car, make sure that your car is not, as a general rule, is not any higher than 2 wheels high. So if my wheel is 2 inches high, that means that my car at the most is going to come up to 4 inches. But I'm going to bring it down to 3 3/4 inches. That's as high as my car is going to go. It'll be down closer to the ground. The windshield starts pretty much right here behind the front wheel. Like if you took it and put a dotted line right up here, This would be kind of where my windshield would start. It would kind of bend back like this. I'm going to start designing this car now and seeing how it comes out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to darken it in color pencil so you can see what happens. About a ½ inch out from the baseline, I've darkened it in with this color pencil here. And from the car, the front of the car comes out, 2.5 inches from the front of the wheel, and the back is 2 inches, so that kind of gives you an idea. Underneath the car, this line here, I've moved it up to here so that's the works underneath your car really comes up. It'll be like the suspension and different things like this. And the same thing over on the side here. I'm going to put a little part down that bends so it looks like the transmission underneath. Again, right here, if you look straight up, like where this wheel well stops, that's where I start my windshield. So the windshield's going to come up like this. Back like this, and it's just got just a little bit of a curve to it. Then let's put a panel here. A panel is a section of the car where the line, it divides up to a section. And so you've got this panel here, and I've got a panel here, the door panel, and different things going on. So I'm going to put this panel here. The front of the car coming here. Then this is a scoop or air intake for your engine, just kind of fun. I thought it'd be kind of nice to add that. Bending around your wheel. A mirror. I'm going to put a mirror right in here. It's kind of a triangular shaped thing that tips back. Put it in there like this. Then the bar from the windshield to the door comes over here like this. And this is going to be your door. Then the car's all drawn out. But do you see how this distance here is like 2 of these and the car is still yet down within 2 wheels high? If it gets above 2 wheels high, it kind of looks kind of cartoony and doesn't look like a real car. But this kind of gives you an idea at this point. The next thing I want to do is to show you how to color in around the wheel well. What you're going to do is you're going to color this area in solid black, but you're going to leave a little white space in between the black wheel and the black wheel well. So you come into here like this and you just kind of go around the outside. So there's that wheel well. Let me show you both wheel wells. I've done those so you can see what's going on. Now you can see both wheel wells how I've colored these in solid black, but left this white line around the outside. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly outline some flames coming around the front of the car. We're going to start coloring this car in. So this is what I'm going to do, is have these flames coming from the front to the back. There's going to be highlights along your car. What you do is you take your pencil along the panels, put a long strip of a light color here and here, from halfway up, from probably like here or here up. You put these little white highlights on the top so it looks like there's a fiberglass or metal panels with light reflecting off them. You're going to leave it along the tops here, along here, and along here, here, this edge here, and there's just long strips of white or white highlights shining off the top. Then let me outline some flames on the front. I'm going to start coloring this. So it's going to come in here. And what's going to happen is from the front, it's going to go yellow to orange to red. So I'm going to color this car in black and leave little white highlights between the panels. Now if you do blue, green, yellow, whatever color you do, you still have to leave a little white panel or a little white highlight between the panels. And the only reason I outline this in black is because I'm going to color it black. But as I color in the flames, I'm going to start in the back and work my way forward from darkest to lightest. So I'm going to start out with my red on the back side here and work forward. Next I'm going to use my orange to blend over top of the red. So these colors are going to look like a flame. Now, I'm going to use yellow over top of this to really blend these colors and get them solid. Then in these areas here I can take the white and blend that to get that very smooth. Okay, now I would like to start to color in the car, the panels of the car, the side of the car. I'm going to color it in a solid black. On the bottom I'm just going to color it solid, but I leave a white space between each panel. And you choose the color you want to do. If you want to do blue, green, yellow, whatever, you're going to color this in, but you're going to leave a little white space between the panels so that you can see the details you've put in. Also, along the top, you're going to have little white highlights. So if you just outline it on the edges, put a white, and down along this edge here, you can have a white along the top here. So kind of you leave that little white edge. Now the mirror. This mirror, I'm going to leave just a little bit of a highlight on the top to make it look like light's reflecting off it. Let's leave a little bit of a white space around that mirror. Go up to here. Now for the windows. I want to have a tinted window, so I'm going to start down on the bottom a little bit dark and fade it up. Let's do that with the side windows. There. Once you've got this colored in with your black, then you're going to go over it with a white. We're going to start blending it to get a nice smooth, shiny glass surface. Now let's do the tailpipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of black in the middle, a little black on top, and then I'm going to blend it with the white to get the chrome effect. Then we have our finished car.